Bitcoin is setting up for a major move that you can capitalize on right now. Let's get into the charts. Starting on the 4-hourly time frame, we currently are looking at this 5-wave structure to the upside. Bitcoin has indeed fallen off a cliff in the last little bit of a move, but we are going to break that down when we get to the hourly time frame. So here from the lows at 48,700, we are looking for a 5-wave structure to the upside. Now, a 5-wave structure in white, as you can see on the chart, looks somewhere along the lines of this: a 1 up, 2 down, 3, 4, and wave 5. Now, this is called an impulse, and oftentimes in an impulse inside the wave 3, we have a very clear 5-wave structure as well. Now, a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and wave 5 to finish off the white wave 3. That is what we are currently looking at. We do indeed have this purple one inside the green wave 3 as well, but at the moment that purple 5-wave move in the green wave 3 has indeed completed, and we are now looking at this move to the downside in wave 4. So if we go to the 4-hourly time frame and turn on our main scenario, we did indeed predict this scenario perfectly in the last 2 or 3 days. So we've had this chart on our chart for ages now. It has been maybe 3 or 4 weeks that we've been looking at this chart, and it is finally coming into play, or finally almost ending off. So in the wave 4, we have something called a WXY. So in Elliott Wave, we have a few corrective structures, oftentimes starting with an A, B, C. This would be an A, this would be a B, and this a wave C. Or another corrective structure we have is a WXY, a WXY. Very, very similar to an ABC, except each move inside the WXY are 3-wave structures. You can see here A, B, C in a W, A, B, C in an X, and A, B, C in a Y wave Y. Now, so slightly different to an ABC, but we are looking at a WXY currently. We can see on the chart here that we had a W down where we had an A B, and a wave C, followed by an ABC in wave X, and now we are looking for that ABC in wave Y. You can see here an A wave down, B wave up, and C wave to the downside. So we are currently in that C wave to the downside. We did indeed perfectly touch the 0.618 at the B wave high. Very, very common target for a wave B. And we are now looking for that 5-wave structure to the downside. This 5-wave structure has indeed played out very, very nicely. We had the wave 1 straight down. People got a little bit of hope as we might be coming back up, but instead crashing down further, finishing this yellow wave 3 on the chart. This wave 3, the common target for that was the 1.618 of the wave 1. We can see here that price indeed did hit the 1.618 and actually continued lower. That's just a minimum target for the wave 3, and therefore this is a perfectly fine wave 3 still. So if we are now looking for one more move to the downside, we have possibly this wave 4 and then one more move to the downside before completing this entire wave C, the entire wave Y, and the entire wave 4 as well. So this would be is a very cool opportunity for you guys to take advantage of. Now, we've been talking about the 0.382 on our chart for a very, very long time. Oftentimes, a wave 4 targets the 0.382, which is just a standard Fibonacci level, a percentage of the previous wave 3. So this would be 38.2% of the wave 3. So here we are looking for one more move down. This one more move down would come after this wave 4 has indeed finished. The wave 4 targets the 0.236 to the 0.5 at 88,500 to 91,300. I do expect something along the lines of that before we head in another 5-wave structure to the downside, finishing off this correction. Then the targets for the wave 5, this yellow wave 5 that we can see here, the smaller degree wave 5 of the wave C, are the 0.618 of this entire move to the downside. So 61.8% of this entire line would be the average target. Depending on how high the wave 4 goes, I've put it at the moment at the 0.382, but if the wave 4 goes higher and touches the 0.5, we could possibly see a target of around $83,000, but at the moment it sits at around 81,756. Another way we can measure where this wave is possibly going to end is oftentimes in a WXY. The wave Y and the wave W are equal in length. This would mean that we take the length of the wave Y, the length of the wave W, the length of the wave Y, and compare the two. That at the moment sits at the 1-to-1 at $83,627. A very, very possible target for this area here, as we could see one more move up, a move down, hitting that 1-to-1, and then the start of a larger degree impulse. This would be our main scenario on the charts. If that impulse does not occur after this move to the downside, we are then looking at something else instead of that wave 5 or last wave 5 towards the upside in the white wave 3. Now for trade possibilities on the 4-hourly time frame. So on the 4-hourly time frame, maybe, it must have been here that I already started mentioning the 0.382 starting on the 17th of December of last year. 3 months ago, I mentioned the 0.382 on the chart. This line over here. We have now touched this line finally. After a very, very long correction, we have now touched it. A very, very common target for this wave 4 and a good area to long from already. This is indeed a very good long. I've not put this trade yet in my Discord, as I do believe we are heading for one more low in that wave 5, like I said, but a very, very good area to dollar cost average or long from here. Entering a trade there is not a bad idea at all. But we have 3 different indications of where this move to the downside is going to end. We have the 0.382 as mentioned previously, we have trend lines, and we have short-term fair value gaps. Now, if we look at these trend lines here, this trend line that was drawn from the bottom at 48,800, touching again at 58,600, has now almost indeed been touched. But we might still see a little bit lower than the trend line, as we might look for one more low in that wave 5 as mentioned, but a very good area to look out for, as we are looking for a trend line touch on this area here. Another good indication of a low is fair value gaps. These are daily fair value gaps on the charts, which means Bitcoin often reacts to these as a good level of support, oftentimes touching them before finding major support at these big areas, especially on the daily time frame. So we could possibly head down, touch this fair value gap, and then turn around here. It's very interesting putting both our scenarios on this chart. We actually have the 83,600 1-to-1 inside the fair value gap, and that could be a very possible touch point for their finding a good resistance or support from this area. So those are the 2 things we are looking at, or 3 things including the 382. So if you were to long, I would long from this area here. between 83,627 and the fair value gap that I've shown at 85,258. I feel this area is a very good area to long, and this trade will be posted in my Discord once I have taken it. But guys, thank you so much for watching. Do subscribe to the YouTube channel and join the Discord in the description. And if you want updates for more and more trades, more and more charts, do join that Discord. It's been Max Trades Crypto. Cheers, guys.